Today we will be going over the basics of hand lettering. I will be sharing 5 tips and tricks for beginners to, of course, understand the basics of what to do. Now, let's get on with it.
So right here, I'm just demonstrating that there are 2 types of hand lettering techniques. Right here, I'm showing you the first one, which is a skinny, all capital letter kind of blocky style. And then the second, right here, I'm showing you in pink, is a more flamboyant cursive type of style that you might see more often than the first one. Right here, I'm also demonstrating that the second technique could be written with a brush pen. Now notice that this brush pen is a slight bit frayed, but I'll go into talking more about fraying in the next tip. So as I'm finishing up writing that down, I'm also saying that the first technique could also be written with a brush pen, as I'm writing down right here. So now I'm just showing you a slightly frayed brush pen tip and just writing down a random word just to demonstrate the upstrokes and downstrokes. Then I am drawing an arrow to the upstroke and writing down that it is thicker when it's a frayed brush pen tip, and we don't want that, obviously, since it's going to look like you just took a marker and wrote cursive with it, opposed to tried the hand lettering techniques. So next, I am going to take a very frayed brush pen tip. As you can see, it's very frayed. And you can see that it really does look like you took a marker and just wrote cursive with it. It doesn't really look like you took a brush pen or anything and tried to do the hand lettering. And now, as I'm writing down for the last sentence, now it will only serve as a marker because that's what it really seems like. Now I am taking my precious time and taking a non-frayed brush pen. This is almost brand new. It has been used slightly, but this, you can see the upstrokes and the downstrokes are very thick. The upstrokes are very thin. It's a very good quality brush pen. Well, they're all good quality, but it's the one that you would use for doing hand lettering. But I would say the first example of the slightly frayed brush pen would also be okay. But when it gets to the second stage, the last stage, as I showed you, that is worth throwing away. Yeah, and then there's me bringing out a piece of paper and writing something down and taking my precious time and doing that. Yes, I'm stalling. But now we're going to go on to the extra, as I'll call it right now. The extra is how to prevent fraying in brush pens. So I'm writing down for the first tip is use sketchbook paper. This is what I use, and it prevents my brush pens from fraying as much. The second one is a slightly non-helpful tip, but I'd say it's okay. It's don't use one brush pen as often, but if you have one, then go ahead and use it. Trust me, like, it's okay. And then the third one is use the brush pen appropriately, because when you use it and like you press on the tip straight on it, it's just not gonna work out well. All right, now we have upstrokes and downstrokes. You see, I'm gonna, well, just to let you guys know, I'm gonna link all of my supplies that I use in this video in the description, along with practice sheets that you'll find out about in later tips. But here I'm just showing you how the upstrokes and downstrokes work. So the first one, I'm showing you lighter strokes when you go up and put more pressure on it when you go down. And then I'm saying that this helps create the hand lettering illusion, or I don't know how you may call it, but I mean, that's what I'm going to. Now for the next one. This is a bit of a thicker tip. The first one was thinner, as you saw. See, I'm writing the same word and with the same technique, and as I'm saying, well, same concept. It's the hand lettering, it's lighter strokes up, put more pressure on it when you go down. Same thing with everything. But I just want to say that for each tip, I made a little typo, as you might say. It's not just with a thin tip, it's with all tips. Do not put too much pressure on it, because it may, well, it will, if you put too much pressure on it, it will destroy the tip and it won't be usable anymore. Now I'm showing you the brush pen tip. See, this is a bit more complex since it's a brush pen. It moves around a little more. You have to kind of get the hang of it when you go down and when you go on the upstrokes. But it's the same concept, again, but it's just a little bit more difficult to get the hang of. And as I'm writing down right now, don't get frustrated if it doesn't work at first, because with this tip, it's much more difficult to work with. And if you want, write down in the comment section if you would like a separate tutorial with writing with brush pens, because I know it might be much more difficult to write with a brush pen opposing to the thinner tips. Now, you may not be able to see it right now, but I even said you can even do it with a pencil. You can do it with any tip you would like. Just want to let you know. You can do it with a marker, a pencil, any type. And as you can see, same concept. Upstrokes light, downstrokes more pressure. Now, right here, I'm just showing you how I'm writing down, well, it's not really a random word anymore, is it? But how I'm just writing down a word with my brush pen at an angle. Now I'm showing you how I'm doing it straight down, but it's also slightly on an angle. But because, well, I'm really used to writing it on an angle. But as you can see, how the angle one looks a lot more flamboyant, as you may say. I feel like I'm using that word too much. But how it's more like airy and light, while the other one looks very flat. Now, I'm also saying that you have much more control when you write at an angle, opposing to when you don't write at an angle. I know that, like, you look at it and it looks okay, like, oh, it looks nice. But when you press down on the front, since if you're not holding it, when you're not holding it at an angle, you're pressing down on the tip, and that's going to ruin your tip and fray it down, and we don't want that. So I suggest writing it at an angle. So now we go on to our last tip, or as I might say, this is the part 1, and it is practice. And these were the practice sheets that I was talking about. Those will be linked in the description, as well as everything else that I mentioned before. So I am writing these down. It's a downstroke and upstroke, then it's those two blended together, and then writing a circle, because those are the basic exercises that will help with improving your brush pen work, and they are just the basics that you'll be using in your everyday brush pen experience. And as I'm writing down right here, and it will also pop up on the screen, you can find practice sheets, link in description. And PDF, it's going to be a PDF available for download. And now we have part 2, which is have fun with it. And what I mean by that is what I'm about to write down and also explain at the same time. When you do it, like when you don't give your hand and your pen like freedom, it looks very flat, and it just looks flat. And as I'm saying, have fun with it by trying to extend your lines, and you'll see the result of that right here. After extending your lines, you see how much better that looks. It looks a lot more fun, I guess you might say. And after extending, you just see it looks much better than the first try.
Thank you to everyone who made it to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed, and please like and subscribe and follow the socials. The links for the practice sheets will be in the description. Bye.
Just a quick intersection. If you guys want me to write down make a video concerning the practice sheets, if you don't understand it, I'll be happy to do that. Just let me know down in the comments, because I see where it may show difficulty. And yeah, just let me know if there are any problems, and I'll fix those.